I'm not going to rule it out totally. Mr. Brad Nash has made his way into the studio. Sir, how are you?
Doing good. How are you, sir?
Very good. I saw the razor didn't work again. That's good.
Yes, that's right.
That's the way things are going, right? Yeah.
It's my vacation beard.
And you're on vacation?
No, but I heard somebody
That's a funny way of being on vacation.
I heard somebody use that yesterday. It's like, it's my vacation beard. And it's like, are you on vacation? Yeah. It's like, oh, shoot. Well, I'll have to try to use that one, but I'm not on vacation.
Well,
but,
I don't know when you'll go on vacation. It's just.
I don't think ever.
Well, maybe somewhere down the road, but it might be a while.
Sometimes it feels like never.
Never. Oh, I know. I've had many of those kind of days when you feel like you're never going to be able to get away. But, yeah, usually somewhere down the road things do get a little bit better. But anyway, we want to welcome Brad in. And obviously, Brad, we've had some just a couple of beautiful, gorgeous days here lately.
Yes.
And so I hope people have taken advantage of that. One of the things that obviously we all know, and I know we haven't really talked about it, hadn't come up at the Alderman meeting, but you know it's going to here pretty soon, is the amount of grass that's growing. I mean, and it's growing extraordinarily fast.
I had to go get my lawnmower fixed. I had to get the blade sharpened, and the carburetor was messed up on it a little bit. It was gone for a week, and I was
boy.
I was like, if I don't get going, I'm going to get a ticket.
I'm cutting every 3 days.
But yeah,
I mean, it's that bad. I mean, it's that bad that it's going to grow that much. We had all that rain,
yeah,
and boy, I mean, the grass has just been kind of praying for sunshine, I guess, Yeah. And as soon as they got it, it's like, yes, and they just reached their hands up, and of course, those blades of grass just came shooting out of the ground.
Yeah.
I think one day I was sitting out on my deck and I was just watching the grass grow. I just cut it that Saturday and I can hear it coming up.
But I talked to somebody yesterday, and they were talking about that they had just mowed their yard, and they were talking about dust, coming up in some of the areas, and it's like, how can that be with as much rain and everything that we've gotten? But
well, the top is starting to dry out, but if you go down about 8 inches, they're working out on the softball field out there, putting that drainage in, and they can only go so deep because it's so wet.
Wow,
that deep, and that's just muck.
Yeah.
Ugh. So anyhow, it's definitely moist down there, and the grass knows it too, and they're liking it. But there's a possibility those little pop-up showers that's gonna make it just grow that much faster.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Anyway, but hey, look, all the yards look good when they're cut and they're green, and it really does look pretty. But again, for those, we know that there are going to be some areas where the grass isn't being cut, and poor Jared's going to have to try and get around and get all those located. And I'm telling you what, I know there's a couple. That grass is already 2 feet high.
Yeah.
And it didn't take very long to get there.
No, not at all. Not at all. And so, everybody needs to really watch that. And, Travis and Jared, like you said, is going to be pretty busy. This is typically their busy time of year, but it seems like with our weather that we had this year, it's going to, unfortunately, probably be a lot worse. So.
And it seems like the ticks are really thick in those grasses that are 2 feet high, too. And I heard so many people talking about the ticks already. And I thought, well, I didn't think too much about it. I was out at the tower out that way, and they're all over the place. You can see them just sitting there like, wow. On those long blades of grass, when you see that old tick sitting right up there, it's just waiting for somebody to come through. Hey, how about a ride?
Yeah.
So be careful out there, guys. There are a lot of ticks out and about, and I got all my trees were trimmed up and stuff. And so I don't have any low-lying limbs anymore. I don't hardly have any limbs anymore. So, got that out of the way. And then the grass I've kept cut. So, I won't say I'm tick-free, but, it's a little bit harder for them to get any kind of, grasp on anything. I guess they can get my bushes in the front where they could climb on something, but that's about it. But got to get carried there first. Anyway, good stuff. But again, watch the grasses, guys. It's getting to that time of year, and then we know this is Missouri, right?
Oh yeah.
That we know somewhere in the middle of this month it'll just dry out probably totally, and then everything will go brown.
That's next week.
Yeah, possibly. Anyway, well, we all know it's happened before.
Absolutely.
We've had we had to cancel fireworks because
Yeah.
it got so brown. So hopefully we won't get in that situation. And right now it's nowhere near being brown. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Not even close. All right, very good. Well, let's go ahead and get to the meeting last night. Back in council chambers almost seemed odd.
It really did.
Climb back up there on your boost up there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely an odd evening. We hadn't been there in a couple of
I
months,
almost say
I guess.
2 months or plus.
So
Yeah.
it was nice to be back, but it did feel a little bit different than
Felt a little cramped, didn't it?
it did.
Well, with that 6 foot distance, there's not a lot that can be done
Yeah.
to try and accommodate that, but they do the best they can, and,
Sure.
and then keeping the crowd at about 6 foot apart,
Yeah.
which had a pretty good crowd last night as
Yeah,
well. So
we did.
very good. All right, well, let's get into this thing. First off, the hearing of persons last night. Bill Parsons from the 4th Street Mall, representing 4th Street Mall, I should say, was there. They last year had a fun fest. It's kind of a street fest that they put out, and they did that the first week of June. Well, obviously, with everything going on with COVID-19 and everything else, first week of June, there's no way they could even prepare for it. They didn't even know
Yeah.
what to expect.
Sure.
So they have moved that back into later June, but they still need the streets closed. And so Mr. Parsons was there to ask the board if they would kindly allow them to close the streets off. That will not affect anybody's business. They do know that Roberts Judson is out that way, and they will not close that street off until they close at noon on Saturday. So the board was gracious enough to allow them to do it on June 27th.
That is correct.
It's a pretty good size area down there when you get to the bottom of that hill, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be a good space for them. You have got me itching now. Oh, talking about ticks.
I didn't even say chiggers.
Oh,
I
my
probably
gosh.
shouldn't.
I feel like there's bugs crawling all over me.
No. Ticks.
No, my legs. Oh.
Should I play Ticks by Brad Paisley?
I just got out of the shower, but I'm gonna have to go take another one after we get done. Just
Isn't that crazy if somebody starts talking like that? Yeah. It does. It gets right in that mind, I'll tell you what. But yeah, they'll be blocking off the streets from East 4th Street from Water to Pershing, and then that's pretty good sized length, all the way right there from the bottom of 4th Street Mall, and then from also East 4th Street, Water Street from East 4th Street to East 3rd, all the way out to where that little bridge is, okay? So there you go. That's the area that they will be blocking off, and they did request also to have some barricades. All right. After the consent agenda, and I don't really remember anything major in the consent agenda except some minutes and stuff for also the water analysis reports.
Yeah.
But Sally Burbridge was on Zoom. She had her report in there. She did indicate a few things at the commissioner meeting yesterday about there's still some interest in some businesses out there and a couple of projects, Brad. I know that we're always looking for new businesses to move in or looking for people to expand. But she said there's one business that is getting things put in order, very close, and another one that's showing some interest in moving to the area.
That is great.
Can't beat it.
That is great, and I might add, Sally. If you haven't talked to her, if you haven't seen Sally, she is a real go-getter, and she's been doing a great job for the city and the county, working with these businesses, and especially through the COVID-19 thing, and a lot of people have the perception that an economic development director is just strictly trying to get new businesses in our area, but that is part of it, but that's not 100% accurate. And her job is also to work with the businesses that we have to try to support them. And she's been working with them really hard through the whole COVID-19 issue, helping them with loan paperwork if they need help with that, whatever the case may be, and she's doing an excellent job. Excellent job.
Economic development is just that. It's development of all your economic activities, and you're right. It's not been easy right now, but she's trying to find different avenues for some of these businesses to maintain.
Yeah.
you know, and obviously the payroll protection program she was on a couple times with the Commissioner Daryl Skiles. And we're trying to remind people there are some programs that are out there. Still are some programs out there. And some new programs just kind of came out for the more rural areas. So if you are in agriculture, there are some programs out there. And if you have a need to find out more information, contact Sally at the city administrative offices. Give them a call out there, and they can get her a message, or you can just call her directly. And she'll be more than happy to talk to you about that. I want to make sure that everybody is in good shape, as best a shape as you can be. You know, I'm not saying every business is going to come out of this unscathed. I think all of us are going to come out of it with a little scar.
Unfortunately, I think you're right.
And some will come out with bigger scars. So the thing is that she's doing her best to try and make sure that people have options, and that's the big key right here. Very good. City Administrator Ray Walden was. I gets burdened with a big part of the meeting because he had a lot of stuff to report. It always seems, May and June get really busy.
Yes.
And it seems like always stuff going on, or it either gets initiated in May and June or whatever, and all of a sudden everything either comes to kind of a head in June and May, mostly in June, all right before the fiscal year ends.
Oh, yeah.
Right during budget time, and you got so many things to do, and let's just pile on a few more.
You bet.
Well, anyway, FEMA, as Ray reported, has some funds available for a new floodplain map. Now, this is not something that happens very often. Matter of fact, I don't think it's happened in like 50 years.
I believe so.
But our floodplain maps in Salem are outdated. And he said there are FEMA funds available, right?
That is correct, and they are currently working on that and have been working on it actually for a little while. The floodplain maps are ready for public hearing. So Ray advised us that we will be seeing a public hearing come up shortly to review these issues. And so we don't have an exact date yet, but that will be coming.
Well, the neat thing about these floodplain maps versus the other ones, which were on paper and never changed, is that these will be interactive.
Yes, that is correct.
And what he means by interactive is that, okay, if you are living in a floodplain or you have something, you have let's just say there's a bridge in your area, they'll be able to go and actually calculate by putting in numbers like 100-year flood, 500-year flood, 1,000-year flood, how high that bridge would have to be.
Yes.
To protect you from being flooded out. Or where your home has to be, or where the water could come to your home to see if you qualify for a floodplain.
That is correct, and that is something that has not been available in the past.
You could redraw the map, but it's not going to be official.
Yeah, so that is a neat aspect of this project as well, being able to go in and do that.
And that really is important. Brad, we have a lot of areas in town that are low. Like right behind the fire department.
Sure.
We have a low area down there that goes down under Center Street, under the 4th Street Mall, and out. But there are subdivisions above that have little, we'll just call it a stream. Basically, it's a runoff stream. That's all it is. It's not fed by a spring. But a lot of that water comes in right there from the Water Street at the Crossroads Shopping Center, Night Auto Care, and right all there. And it all goes into one big collection point.
Yes.
And I mean, that water can come shooting down out of there in between there. Now, there have been some rock walls and stuff put up there on the upper part to protect it from eroding, because it was really eroding badly. But as you get to the lower part, it spreads out. Well, we have had floods down there when items get in there, and I know the city has done a great job of keeping that cleaned out to prevent that from happening. But it goes underneath Center Street there, that bridge, and you take a bench or two, or maybe a propane tank floating down there, and the next thing you know, it's going to be blocked.
Yeah. Plugs that up.
Yeah, it can rise quickly. So for those people, that say, well, I'm not near any water, well, those areas are, and that water does run down. Also, people need to think over near Park Avenue, right around Park, and that does also tend to get a lot of water. And people say, well, where did that water come from? Well, look across the street. You got Walmart. You got a lot of concrete. For years ago, when we had grasses, it ate up a lot of that water. Now, concrete, hard gravel, chip and seal,
Yeah.
just runs off.
Water don't soak into concrete very
Not
well.
very well. If it does, you're going to have a problem real soon. But yeah, it's just one of those ways. Now, even though they have built retaining ponds and things of that nature, water still needs to get out.
Sure.
And when it does and it overflows, it goes down those. And of course, that's right next to Park Avenue, and that will go down towards J Highway near the Salem City Park, which is another low area.
Yeah.
In our city, and
Yes.
so we again try and keep things out of those ditches. You know, we see a lot of times there's toys or something thrown in those ditches. Guys, that can jam up everything in a big hurry. It just takes a couple root wads that slow it down and back it up, and the next thing you know, you may have water in your backyard. So it's very important on these floodplains for you to attend if you have questions on a public hearing and ask questions. Flood insurance is available in Salem, so you can get it. I highly recommend, if you're not in a high area, to get flood insurance.
Yeah.
And it's not extraordinarily expensive, but if you've got water that comes up and damages, not covered by your normal insurance,
Yes, that is correct.
and that's going to be a major loss,
Yeah.
big time. Okay, enough of that. I'm not trying to sell insurance here today. However, if you need it, get it, all right? Planning and Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Uh-huh.
I can't even remember the last time they met. But we have an issue coming up that they do need to meet.
That is correct. Board of Adjustments is one of those that that very rarely ever meet, and they've not met since I've been mayor, and so it's been a while. But we do have a contractor that is wanting to build some houses, and he has some questions on some setbacks that we've got, and so he's taking that issue to the Board of Adjustments, and so we'll be having that meeting. I missed the date on that. Was that the 15th?
15th at 6 o'clock.
So we'll be having that meeting coming up, and that is open to the public.
Right, and basically the setbacks, I think it's 30 feet in the front. You need a setback, and then 15 from the back and 10 on the side, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
But if you don't reach, and basically a lot of times planning and zoning will, if you're 8 instead of 10, okay, they'll approve that. But when you want to move something that really I won't say violates, but really infringes on that 30 foot on the front or 15 on the back, and the Planning and Zoning Board isn't comfortable doing that, that's when it goes to the Board of Adjustment. And they can make that recommendation.
Yes.
Back either yes or no. And then they will have to do some homework to find out exactly what the contractor wants to do and how many lots that's going to affect. This is an area of a lot of different lots that were set up, and you can tell were all set up to be designed for, I don't know if a mobile home park or whatever, but lots that they could build on. So.
Yes.
Very good. All right, 6 o'clock, on June the 15th. Almost said July. Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so the city has been doing some different things, branding, and they also had a little bit of a website consultant and working with their website and trying to get the branding and stuff done. So reports, here they come. This was all supposed to be in, about a month and a half ago, but because of COVID-19, well, you're not in the office.
Yeah.
See, some people say you can do all this work at home. No, you really can't do all this work at home when there's more than 3 or 4 people involved in these reports. So we'll collate them. And in doing so, Brad, how do you do that when one person's 40 miles away?
Yeah.
Another one is in town, and then this one's over here, and then you really can't do that without getting all those reports into one location.
That is true. So hopefully we're pulling some of this together, and we did get the reports in last week, and hopefully we'll be seeing those soon and being able to make those public. So.
Now, this consultant report obviously wasn't in time for the aldermen to preview before the meeting. So you're giving them a copy of that? Is it going to be a hard copy, or is that going to be online, or how's that going to be, Brad?
From what I understand, when copies they're supposed to be sending us more copies when they're available.
Oh, okay.
We will give them out when they're available.
Okay, very good. All right, so we do have one in the office that
Yes.
if at their leisure they can come by and look at. But if they come in the office, they'll be put to work. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
I need you over here.
You can sit here.
Yeah. Not only do we have this, and this site consultant worked on the branding, helping out with a website, etc. But we also had, and we have had in the past, a project management class out of Missouri S&T that would come over. They would pick out certain projects that they wanted to do an investigation on, and then
Yes.
give a recommendation on how it could possibly work. And well, that came in too.
Yes, it did. That was another difficult project. Normally during this process, we have several meetings. We get together and meet the students that are involved in these projects. But this time we didn't get to do that. Everything was done for the most part off-site. So they do have these available. And as soon as there's more copies made available on this one as well, we'll get those published, and so everybody can look at those.
Now these are not committed. The city doesn't commit to anything here, but it's just a forum to open up some new ideas.
Yes.
And let these younger people take a look at it, because it might be something that we've seen for 30 years, never saw it that way.
And we've discussed that several times before, and it's just I always enjoy getting an outside perspective of what people see Salem as, or what the potential that we have. And sometimes when you walk by everything or the same thing every day, you kind of get blinders on, and you really don't think about it too much. And so it's really neat to have these kids come in, and I know in the past projects that we've done, reading some of their ideas, and it's like, wow, what if we could do this, or what does this look like for Salem? And so it's a great project and really neat to see.
I used to really enjoy. Now, obviously, this year they can't make a personal presentation. I really used to enjoy that, because the people who did the work, they're telling you where they got the information from, how they got the information, why they think this is a good project, has different ideas that they have. I always thought that their presentations were very, very, very informative.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a couple of them that are pretty far-fetched.
Sure.
But, they're going out on a limb to just try and say, this is what we see could happen here. And it really is a pretty interesting thing. Some have taken, like the soccer field. Okay, we know that that's kind of, it's getting closer all the time. Maybe even find out something next Monday. We have a meeting next Monday.
Great.
So hopefully we'll find out something, or shortly thereafter, about our LWCF grant. However, when these people are putting something together, they put their ideas together. And so there you go. They see something, and we just try and incorporate that into our thinking sometimes to say, hey, didn't these guys, especially when you're trying to maybe look at something different, hey, didn't these guys do a report on that like 5 years ago from MS&T? Let's see what they said. Let's see what they did, or let's see what their vision was, and let's see if we can incorporate that into what we're trying to do. So a lot of these are really good. Like I said, I'm going to miss the presentation, the actual presentation of this. However, even some good ideas on paper can be well tuned into, and you start trying to put together a plan.
Yeah.
All right, you know what today is, right?
Yes, I do.
You're up for re-election.
Yes, I am. Today is voting day.
It is.
So make sure everybody gets out and votes, choose or pick your favorite candidates, and get that done. It's very important. There's several people that's running this time around.
Lots of people.
So get out and cast a vote for your favorite person.
Right. Get those school boards. There's 4 of the 5 have a race. The ones right here in Denton County.
Yeah.
Iron County has a race, and also for the city, there's an aldermanic race on each side.
That is correct.
3 on the east, 2 on the west, and then down in Bunker they have a race for the 1 aldermanic seat that they have there. So, first off, I'm glad to see there's interest in those positions. That's number 1. And then number two, though, you have to go vote.
Yes.
And so please make sure you do so. They have taken all the precautions to make sure that there's plenty of spacing.
Uh-huh.
There's sanitation. They'll have hand sanitizer there. And again, they have the glass partitions. I mean,
Yeah.
they've really gone through a lot. Tip of the cap to County Clerk Angie Curley and them for getting all that stuff in, and state helping out as well. But those poll workers, that's a job that I'm telling you what, you need to thank them, because that's a long day. They're there from 5 until after 7.
And, I never did realize, and actually, to be honest, I never even thought about it, what all goes into setting that up and working that until they started doing it down at the fire station. And that's just a huge undertaking. It really is. And they all do a great job at it, and we definitely appreciate them for that.
All right, remember, you can vote till 7 o'clock tonight. You get to vote one time.
Uh-huh.
It's not like Chicago. Hey.
Oh.
Vote early and often, right?
Yeah.
Now, one time, and if you're not quite sure where you are to vote, if you've moved,
Uh-huh.
even across the street, you may think, well, I'm voting the same place. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Do call the county clerk's office, 729-4144, and ask them. And some people, by the way, Brad, will not have a ballot. Like I said, we have one school district that does not have anything. And if they're not affected by the Montauk Rural Fire Protection District, which is looking now to be a tax-based fire protection district,
Yes.
that's a big thing. That's covering a couple areas out there, and that's a big item, guys.
Yes.
Don't think, well, it's just a municipal election, I don't need to vote for it. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And then not only vote for that, but also their board of directors.
Yes.
Should it pass, then these would be the board, and then by the amount of votes that they get will determine their length on that board.
Yes.
Very important, very important. So get out there and get your vote cast. You can't complain about the weather.
No. That's not an issue today.
No, can't do that. Anyway, but it does feel weird, municipal election in June.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, really different. Okay, so should we bring up the elephant in the room?
Might as well. What the
What
heck?
the heck? All right, utility bills. Okay, we got a bunch out last week.
Uh-huh.
Well, we got a bunch more to get out this week, right?
We do, and I have posted a letter from myself on the city Facebook page, and it actually went on there this morning, along with some frequently asked questions to help everybody out with that. And what our issue is, we have basically two systems. We have our billing system, which is called Encode, that we've been using for years. The new AMI system is NextGrid. And so basically the process is the NextGrid system reads all of the meters that's on everybody's houses and the water meters and everything else. It collects that data into the NextGrid system. And then the NextGrid system has to be able to talk to our Encode system, and the NextGrid system gives all the information to Encode, and then Encode sets the bills. What our big issue is there is a file that allows the two systems to communicate. And the file that our Encode system has is not allowing the NextGrid system to give reads to our billing system. So, and I hope I explained that well to where everybody can understand, because it's complicated. Anytime you get into computer programming and that type of thing, it's way over my head. But basically our issue is the two systems are not communicating. The software designers on both sides are working trying to get a fix for this. The NextGrid system has worked with several cities or other cities that have the Encode system like we have. For some reason, ours is different. and I don't understand the why they're different from the other ones, but they're different. So they're currently working on a fix, and so what the city has done to try to get a bill out to everyone is we have basically manually came up with a spreadsheet that pulls everybody's individual meter reads in from both systems and the billing information to compile it into one sheet. Now, in doing this, and there again, this is something that we have designed on our own. So we've had to make this from scratch. So in going into this, it was kind of uncharted territories.
And very labor intensive.
It is. And so we had thought that the process would go a little bit quicker than it has. But unfortunately, it is not. It is a slow process. It's taking us roughly 5 minutes, 5 uninterrupted minutes of time to do one bill. So what we're looking at is, it's to do everybody's bill in the city of Salem. It's taking 200 or 300 man hours to get those done. We're trying to punch them out as quick as possible, but with the phone calls we've been receiving in the office, the people that have received their bills, they've got questions on the different options, so they've been coming in. So anytime that you get away from your computer screen to answer the phone or to help other folks, that just prolongs the time that we can send out some other bills. I do know that staff is working lots of overtime, nights, weekends. I know myself and actually my wife went in this weekend, and Kim Shelton had come in with Ray, and Mark was there. We worked Friday night, all day Saturday into Saturday evening. Sunday after church we went in and worked to just get some bills punched out, and guys, it just unfortunately is taking a while to do. At this point, I didn't get yesterday's numbers, but as of Sunday evening, we've sent out 1,000 bills. We still have roughly 500 commercial bills to go out and 1,000 more residential bills. We're working on that the best we can. We've brought in people to help answer the phones in the office to where the girls can actually stay in front of their computers as much as possible and punch out these bills. Right. But please be patient with us. We're working as hard as we can. Unfortunately, through this whole project, there's been several roadblocks that we've hit that has not been under the control of the city, and so we're trying to work through them the best we can. And if everyone would be patient with us, we would definitely appreciate it.
Okay, and let's back up a little bit. Some people will probably say, well, you guys should have known these two softwares would not talk to each other. But that's not been this is the first time this has ever happened.
That is true.
With these two companies, because as you mentioned, Encode it's used in a number of different cities, and these same people that put in the AMI have done this before. For whatever reason, and this was talked to them when they granted the bid, when the city gave this out, they said, yes, our softwares do communicate with each other, and it should be and if I'm not mistaken, it was going to be a seamless change. Seamless.
That's what we were told.
Senseless might have been a better No, but it's not supposed to have happened this way. Problem is Brad, when all this was going down, COVID-19, they couldn't send anybody down. You couldn't do anything. They're trying to work from home, but you got to see the problem on their end as well as on your end to try and get a solution. And for 8 weeks, they were left at home. They were not even allowed to leave the office and come down. So you're stuck for 2 months trying to catch up. And how do you do it?
Yeah. And it's just been it's just been a process, and it seems like that every time we get to a point where we're like, okay, we got this. We got this. It's going now. Then we turn around and there's another roadblock. And like you said, with the COVID issues, we've been trying to have Zoom meetings with these people, but these people on the Encode side and on the NextGrid side, they're not even in the office.
Right. Home.
They're in hotspot areas to where they're all working from home, and so there's disadvantages there. There's disadvantages of not being able to actually bring them on site and say
They need to see what's happening.
Yeah, and say, here, this is what we're fighting. This is what we're doing, and and then on the flip side of that too, the office staff is having to learn a new software system that it's been very difficult getting training on because we can't get the people here to train staff. And so we've had a couple of Zoom meeting trainings. But, guys, that's if you've ever done that, that's not the same as having that person in the room with you, that they can look at your computer screen and you can ask questions. And it's just been a difficult process the whole way through.
And you can't properly get trained when they're not really talking to each other.
Yes.
So you can get that training, okay, this is what this means and this is what this means. But until everything is actually talking and communicating and storing data and interpreting data, you're kind of at a standstill. And so these people are trying to learn a new system at the same time. They're trying to answer questions about why it won't work.
And we've had people ask us the question as far as, well, how's the information being stored and that type of thing. Well, both systems are functioning and functioning properly. They're just not talking to each other. And so, we can get on the NextGrid system and we can see what everybody's meters are doing, and we can talk to them.
And you've been able to do that for 3 months now, or more.
Yeah, and then on the Encode side, we can do billing on the Encode side, and that's not an issue. It's just an issue of the two systems meshing together and talking to each other is where we're having the biggest issue. And so since they're not talking together, we can't get them to punch out bills, and so that's why we had to basically come up with our own spreadsheet that pulls the information from both systems to where we can get a bill out for the people to pay. And like I said, I realize people are frustrated. I completely understand. I guarantee you nobody's more frustrated than I am with the process. But city staff is working very hard to try to get the bills out as quick as they can. And guys, let me add something else here too. Calling up to City Hall and chewing out the girls on the phone, or calling your alderman, or calling myself and chewing us out, that does not benefit anybody. We know there's frustration there. We know there's issues, and we're trying to address them the best that we can. But getting 100 phone calls a day and getting chewed out does not help anybody.
It's not going to get your bill there any faster, is it?
No, not at all.
No. So in this, so on the Facebook page of the City of Salem, you mentioned that you've got a letter there that's explaining a lot of what we're just talking about, but also the I used to do this for a living. The frequently asked questions may really help people right now when they get their bill to just look at that. If you don't have to call in, you're saving them time. Okay, so they don't have to stop what they're doing, and and they will if they if they have to.
Sure.
But and they'll be helpful as they can to you. But if you can look on the frequently asked questions first, and see if that helps you, and maybe it'll help you make the determination of what you want to do. Because on this bill, Brad, that they're getting right now, they have to make a determination, 1, 2, or 3 option, right?
Yes, they do. They do, and option 1 is basically you pay the whole for the lack of a better term, the past due amount. And kind of what happens is, and there's some misconception there as well. We are 3 months behind on our billing. We have always been, for as long as I have ever known, we've always been 2 months behind. Even with the old system that we had, we were 2 months behind, and that was one of the complaints that we were getting, or that we always got,
Right.
is, why am I paying for electric now that we used 2 months ago? Why aren't we current? Well, with our system that we had, where we had city staff walking the streets, hand reading meters, that took about 2.5 weeks to do. And then
Got to enter all that information.
yes, and then if there was any issues that came up, if there was a misread or whatever, we would have to go back out, reread the meters, and by the time this process was completed and we were able to print 2,500 bills, fold them, stuff them, put stamps on them, and get them in the mail, it was about a 2 month process, and there was times where we were pushing that 2 month time frame to get the bills out. So during this transition, unfortunately, we did drop another month because of the computer issues that we were having. With the option one, basically what that does is that brings you back up to current. So when you get your June bill, you will be paying for May usage, and that is what we're trying to get everybody back on that page,
Okay.
and getting everybody back to current. On the second option,
If you do the first option, there's a 5% discount credit, right?
Yes,
To
yes.
the next bill.
yes, that is correct. And there has been some questions for that. If you come in and you choose option one and your bill is $100, why can't we just pay $95? Unfortunately, our system that we have does not allow us to do that. If you pay $95, there's no way that we can punch that in there to show that your account is paid in full.
Right.
And so,
It's still going to show amount due.
yeah, so we had to do it this way. Option two, basically what we did is we took a year's worth of electric bills, and we took an average of that and divided that by 12. And then we took an average of the 3 months that people were behind, or added those numbers up for those 3 months, divided that by 12, and then whatever that number came out as, we added it to the other number. And so basically on option two, it is a levelized billing. You're going to pay the same amount every month from now till the end of, I believe it's May. And so what you have to really watch for
May
that
of
one,
2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not to the end of this May.
Yeah.
2021.
what you really have to watch for those people that choose that option, though, is if you're paying $100 and you use $110 worth of electric a month, at the end of that May 2021 time period, we will reconcile all the bills, and if there's overages there, then you're responsible to pay for those overages at that time. So you really have to watch, if you are going to choose that option, you need to watch your electric usage and make sure that you're staying on track there. And then the third option that we have is basically we're bringing everybody up to current billing date. So there again, the month or the bill that you receive in June is going to be for your May usage, but for the 3 months that we're behind, we're dividing that, we're adding that up, dividing that by 12, and then that amount will be tacked on to your actual usage. So in 12 months, or next May, when you pay that bill, then your 3 months past due will be completely caught up.
Okay. But you'll be paying your current electric in its entirety.
Yes.
Plus the balance due derivative of what you have, your 3/12 of that.
Yes.
In a monthly form. So if your monthly bill would be $80 and your 3 months behind is divided by 12 and it's 20, you'll be getting $100. Now that'll be for this month. If you use 75, the next month it'll be 95.
Uh-huh.
Now the other one on option 2, it just stays the same all the way through.
Yes, that is correct.
And then you have the possibility end of that a balance. It could be lower, or it could be higher. You might get a credit. Oh, nothing wrong with credits.
And and that's a great option to choose from. I can see that being very beneficial for households that your electric is normally in the same range every month. For a household like mine where I have
my God.
where I have a large family, I don't feel that that's really necessarily a great option for me, because you have to stay on top of your electric usage. And that's one thing that I was worried about is at the in May of 21, I don't want to get a bill and it be a huge bill because we've had overages over what we've paid on the monthly basis.
Super hot summer, super cold winter.
Yeah, and so for me that wasn't really an option that worked out well for me. So we our household anyway are not going to be choosing that option, but that is a great option for others.
For somebody whose electric is pretty well the same every month, and this is total bill, utility bill, right?
Yes.
Because you've got your trash and you've got water and you got sewer.
Yes.
Most people do. Now, there are some few people that do not, but they for most everybody, you got your electric, water, trash, sewer, all on one bill. Okay, very good. All right, so let's just quickly review. Option 1, you get to pay the whole bill. And on your next bill, you'll get a 5% credit.
Yes.
All right, so that's pretty easy. On option number 2, it's going to be basically like a levelized billing. You're going to take the balance due, and you're going to take the average amount of what somebody would pay over a year, divide that, total that all up, divide it by 12, get the average amount, and then you're going to add the average of what that 3/12 would be as well.
Yes.
So then the whole thing over 12 months will be the same amount every month.
Yes.
At the end of that, there could be a balance due, or you may get a credit.
Sure.
If you use less. If you keep those 5 kids inside and
Yeah.
let them go in and out. All right, that's probably that. And then the last one is basically what Brad said: is you take the 3 months, and you're gonna take that. You're going to extend that over 12 months to pay just that 3 months over 12, and then you're going to add it to your current monthly bill.
Yes.
So, okay, clear as mud.
Clear as mud.
No, it should be a little bit clearer. Hopefully you're listening in on that, because if your average monthly bill in July and you use the electric like crazy with your air conditioner and you have a $155 electric bill, and then you're going to add on your 3/12 of what was behind. I say, and I hate to use that term behind, not behind, you never got a bill for it.
Yeah.
It's just that's that transitional cost actually. It could be, that might tax you a little bit. So again, your own situation has to dictate. Like I think in many cases, a lot of people here would probably take the levelized and come out pretty good. But like you mentioned, in your case with 7,000 children coming in and out of your house, because your children have friends and they're in and out.
Oh, yeah.
I know what it was like to be a kid. In and out of that garage like 5,000 times a day, and you hoped that the door closed behind you, because if it didn't, Daddy was coming up behind you, and that's not a good thing.
Well, and they don't think about playing in a room and walking out and leaving the light on, or standing there with the refrigerator door open for 5 minutes while
Everybody
they're looking
does that,
for something to
don't they?
drink. My parents, and I have to tell on myself, my parents used to get on to me all the time for that, and it's like, that is so ignorant. Why does that matter? And now that I'm paying the bill, it's like, shut the refrigerator door. Quit standing there with the door open.
Don't you know what you want before you go in?
Yeah, exactly. So, but that being said, there's been a lot of things throughout my years that my parents have told me, and it's like,
they were a lot smarter than you thought,
It's like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then as I get older, it's like, they were pretty smart.
It's amazing how that realization sometimes slaps you in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But they just don't think about it, and we try to teach them, but they're kids,
They are.
And so You know, what we're actually seeing at the office with talking to the girls, which I was actually kind of surprised about, there has been a lot of people that have come in and they're like, we just want to get this over
Paint it
with,
over.
and we're choosing option one, and we're moving forward. And for my household, I think that's what we are going to do, just get it over with. And because for us, our electric bill is typically pretty high. We done a study, and people complain about high electric bills. My house is in the top 5 of high residential users in the city limits, and so I know all about high electric bills.
You got
And,
everything electric, don't you?
yeah, it is. Everything in our house is electric, and so for us, with having a high bill anyway, normally, it would make it really rough to tack on some extra to that. And so, but we, and talking to my wife, we're going to choose option one and just take care of it and be done.
Okay, so very good. So again, what I want to remind everybody is that, as Brad has mentioned, there is a letter on the Facebook page of the City of Salem. So you can access that. You can read that letter, and then all frequently asked questions that they've gotten at the office. They've written them all down, and they've got answers, and it's on Facebook. You can go there and take a look at it, and maybe that'll answer your question about which option you want.
Yes.
And what's going on, and it might make you feel a little bit better about what the situation is, and hopefully then you can take care of that the best way that your family sees fit.
Yes.
All right, very good. So moving forward, let's just go ahead and get past utility bills here for a while.
I'm ready.
And I know that's been first thing on your mind for the last 5 months.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is not something that's going away. We also need to tell people, when you talk about being 2 months behind with your electric bill, well, now that you have the new AMI, you're not even that. You're less than a month behind. So now you got to catch up that month as well, which would have been done anyway.
Yeah.
So that just adds on to that extra month that's taken. I mean, to tell you, it's mind-boggling. But when it's all said and done, when everything finally gets finished, and these two systems communicate, this will be a very nice system. It's just, talk about the worst time it could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just horrible.
Basically, everything that you could put up against us, we've been put up against. And, I still stand firm that, like you said, is when everything is done, all the dust settles and everything, the system that we are going to have is going to be an amazing system. It's going to be great. And so, yes, we're going through some growing pains, if you would call it that. But just if everybody will be patient with us, if you'll hang in there, we're trying to work with everybody the best we can. And, it affects the city as well. I mean, how we operate is with the money that we have coming in, and if we're not
money,
if we're not sending bills out, we're not getting money coming in. And I'm not saying that we're still, or that we're hurting by any means. Don't take that, but things aren't as free as what they were, and so by not sending out bills, on the city side, that also hurts us as well.
And let's explain also, Brad, and then we'll get off the utility bills for good. The city is billed for its electric; it's automatically taken out of their account. They don't have an option of waiting 60 or 90 days. It's automatically withdrawn. Well, okay, so when that bill comes through from Muckluck or whoever we got it through anyway, that's what Gary Brown used to call it, and I can't remember the name of it anyway. It comes out of the account. Then the city then bills that out. So it could actually be, and with the old billing system, it could be 90 days before the city ever recovered the amount of paying for the electric that you used that month. Could be as long as 90 days.
Yeah.
Well, right now, they've been paying all these electric bills, and they haven't had the option of getting that 60-day layover. And now you're talking about almost a half a year behind. And so when you start to look at those monies coming in, people still want their police service, they still want water, they still want all their services, but guys, this is how you pay for it.
Yeah.
Some of that. So tip of the cap, let's get it done. I kind of call this road construction, because
Uh-huh.
people, when people say about road construction, just remember, and anytime you go see a major change in a road, excuse me, Brad, they send you off into some nowhere land, and then all of a sudden you come back up and you're back on the old road. You have no idea what that new road looks like, none whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, and you get used to taking that old, that
Uh-huh.
detour, all right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they open up the brand new road, and you're thinking, man, this is great, right?
Exactly.
Am I right?
Exactly.
Okay, so when you do that, then they tear out the old detour,
Uh-huh.
and you don't even remember the detour is there
Yeah.
because you get so accustomed to doing it now. What the new way will be, you'll get so accustomed to doing it that you don't even remember that. However, right now, it's first and foremost on everybody's mind.
Exactly.
So, all right, let's get past that. The city sent out a request for qualifications for an auditor. You have to do this every so many years.
Uh-huh.
And they advertise it in local paper. They put it out on the streams everywhere, and the people that would be interested in bidding on this. And you only got one bid back,
That is
or
true.
one request for qualifications back.
We did, and that was for the same company that we're currently using.
Yeah, Kirsten DeLuca.
Yeah, and so at the next meeting, Ray is supposed to be bringing more information on that, so we can move forward with that.
Right. Now, they have done this in the past for 3 years. He said this could be a one-year deal, and they could do it again next year.
Uh-huh.
But you have to make this pretty quick because it'd be time to start doing that audit again. And right now, the last thing you need is somebody else in the office, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And no place to put her.
Anybody that comes in the office now is going to get a computer and a chair and be working on utility
And a
bills.
spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
Here you go. Glad you stopped by. Anyway, but yeah, and Miss DeLuca does a great job, by the way.
Yes, she does.
So and they're not dissatisfied with her work. It's just that the city has to do this every so often to put out for bid.
Yes.
All right, very good. Park and Recreation Director Melissa DuBois had an issue came up, and this hasn't happened too often, but it has happened occasionally over in the park area, city park area, where the city park, man, allergy,
time of
man.
year.
I mean, oh no, the grass is extremely high today, and I've been feeling it. So, what we have in the city park, Brad, is concession stands for the baseball, t-ball, softball, so that there's a concession stand there, and also at the pool there's a concession stand.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, it's a convenience for people who are there to use that concession stand, and that's why it's there. This also employs young people who may not be able to get a job elsewhere at the pool, at the concession stand over between the ball fields, and they're getting paid to do this. Well, occasionally, ice cream trucks, food trucks would come
Uh-huh.
up and kind of open their doors near the pool, down near the ballpark, and people would go to those trucks. Now, I understand. I mean, they're a business too.
Sure.
However, the city, in operating and providing these services, they need that money right now because sales tax is down.
Yeah.
Concession, those kids won't be hired if you don't have a concession stand. So the idea is that the concessions lost some money because there was a foreign provider of services at the city park, in which really is specifically done for the city.
Sure.
And so she wanted a little bit of protection there to say, hey, guys, if I'm going to hold an event and I want to hire food trucks, ice cream trucks, carts, hot dog vendors, whatever, that should be our prerogative. If not, there's a big city out there you can go and drive through and put your things down. And she really does need that consideration, especially this year when the sales taxes, we know, are going to be very difficult. And all those dollars that need to be spent or collected, we need every penny we can get.
Yeah, and like you said, on the other side of things, we use that to be able to help kids out give them a little bit of spending money, give them a job, help them prepare for their future, give them some work experience. That also, the money that we generate from there, it helps us with our other programs.
Absolutely.
And we, like you said, unfortunately, with everything going on right now, the times are pretty tight, and so we really have to watch what we do.
And so she made that plea, and of course and basically she's just talking about within the city park, Salem City Park, right now, because we will have the t-ball and softball programs. They'll be able to be starting June 15th. Was going to start June 8th, but then we had all that rain and they couldn't even go practice, so we moved it back June 15th. And so this allows those people to have those jobs, and as you said, raise that money. We don't make a ton of, the park department does not make a ton of money off concessions, but it does make a little bit. And what those are, it allows us to have those soccer programs, the summer camps, the different things. So, guys, that's why we ask to please support it. You buy your concessions at the pool, buy your concessions. Don't bring it in when you go to watch the t-ball game. Just go up there and get your hot dog or, your bag of chips or whatever right there, and you're really helping out, keeping the park programs going.
Yes.
All right, very good. Let's go ahead and get to the resolutions. Resolution 12, 2020, an agreement with MB West Contracting. Hey, we finally got a convincing dollar figure through at least August.
Yes. For Resolution 12, 2020, like you said, was for MB West for the Nova chip, which we've been talking for, it feels like 6 months now, to try to get nailed down. The last contract that they gave us was basically a contract that the prices were good till the end of the month.
Yeah, end of May.
Yeah, we knew that the company was not going to be able to get here at that time. And then there was not a dollar figure specified for if they come in July. It's possible that the May price was $7.50. They could have bumped it up to $14 by that time, and we would have been in trouble. And so the new contract that was submitted to us gave us the $7.50 square yard price till the end of August. And then after that, they put a caveat in there that they can only raise it 10% off of that price.
So you can only raise it 75 cents.
So yeah, and so that's still a very good price for that product, and so the aldermen did approve that resolution last night.
And I truly believe the aldermen are really going to try, and at least I think Public Works Director Mark Nash is going to try and get most of those streets done in July.
Yes.
So maybe even starting late this month. So
yeah, and
if it's possible.
The big issue there is going to be the weather. The street and what is actually underneath the street has got to be completely dry.
Right.
If it's not, then it causes issues and it tears up your new surface, and you don't want that to happen. And so
we talked about that last time.
Yeah, and so we really have to watch the weather on that one.
Okay, so very good. Well, right now it's too wet.
That is true.
You don't even have to think twice. It's too wet. Anyway, there was a concern there by Alderman James about making sure we get the 40,000 square yards, and Public Works Director Mark Nash says that each truck is weighed empty, and then when they fill the material, then they weigh it again, see what the weight is, and they know what the weight is per cubic yard, and so they can determine how many per cubic yard, per square yard. They know how much it is, and that way they can figure out each time the truck does come through, they have to prevent it's happening again. Present the ticket of how much that truck has, and they cannot empty that truck until that ticket has been accepted by somebody in the city who is here to take it. And most of the time, it's probably going to be Mark.
Yeah.
And then he'll if he's not there, though, somebody else will take that ticket and get it to him, and then he'll keep track of how many square yards have been used.
Yes.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Fair enough. All right. So very good. So we won't end up using 150,000 square yards. all of a sudden your budget is gone.
Uh-huh.
That would not be good. That would not be good. Anyway, these are the Type A Nova chips, and they will be used. And there may still be a couple streets that get chip and seal because they just are not ready for Nova chip at this time. All right, Resolution 13, 2020, we're going to see fireworks.
Hopefully so.
Well, not with the ordinance, not with the resolution, but with what comes from it.
Yeah, Resolution 13, 2020 was a rental agreement between the city of Salem and the Commons to be able to use the Commons for fireworks this year. We are still planning at this point to move forward to be able to set those off. And so that was approved last night. The contract was basically the same as last year, no changes, and so we were able to move forward.
Right,
with
it's
that.
a $1,500 fee. This is pretty much a net contract, though. The city will go out there and have to do the grass, and they provide their own supplies and everything. So there was some question by Miss Rachel Hinderleiter about, is there any other place that we could look to do this in the future? And you know, we have done it to Salem City Park before, but as you brought up, some of those fire laws and the fire marshals have said they've changed some of that distance.
The distances,
yeah. So may not be able to ever do that again.
Yeah, and we'll look into that and check that again. But as of right now, and just off the top of my head, I really don't know where we could, inside the city limits, set them off and be able to meet the fire marshal's guidelines. They've extended those a few years ago, and that all the distances depends on the size of the shell that you're shooting, and so with the size that we're shooting, the distances would be really tight anywhere else we would go.
Yeah, you have to, and people have to understand when you shoot fireworks off and they go 200-300 feet in the air, the drift could be as almost a half mile.
Yes.
Because we got the wind blowing that ash and stuff, and it could blow into somebody's yard. Most of the time, usually when a firework does go off and they fizzle out pretty quick and you see them come down, still a little bit of smoke on them as they're coming down, but then they, as they get lower and lower to the ground, they pretty well disintegrate into nothing but, just a little piece of hardly nothing. However, it only takes one that does not go all the way out and doesn't totally burn, and it hits the ground, and it's a quarter mile away, and we're all sitting there going, oh, beautiful sight, and it's burning up over here. And we don't want to have that happen.
And, I was excited last year. I got to be able to light the first firework off of the show, and I've never gotten to do that before. And I tell you what, when you're standing a foot or 2 foot away from that thing, it's the concussion that comes off that thing, the noise that comes off that thing, it's pretty impressive. And so I can definitely see where the fire marshal would have these distances put in place for the safety zones and that type of thing.
And we did have one 4th of July canceled that, after conferring with you and the fire marshal, and I know there was a big concern because we had a whole dry June. I don't think we had an inch or so of rain.
Yeah.
Everything was brown and absolutely just couldn't take the chance. Just really couldn't, because if you would have had one of those embers go somewhere, you'd have been working a long, hard night that night, because you could have had all kinds of stuff burning. So, it's really a good thing. It's safety. Basically, everything is safety, and so it's a good idea. But as you mentioned, you'll look into seeing about other things here in the future. But because the question was, how far is that? Well, I'm surprised you didn't know. Off the top of your head, exactly this. It is based on an equation of how high the shell goes and how far out the drift. Okay, very good. So that was approved. Bill number 3450 is what Melissa Du Bois, our Park and Rec director, had come in with. This is a general type of ordinance that just does ban those food trucks, trailers, and stuff to come in unless asked in. Basically, it pretty much just also defines what they are.
Yeah.
In the ordinance. And this is just an additional piece to the ordinance. It's not changing the ordinance, just adding a little piece to it that this would protect the city park areas.
Yes.
Alderman James wanted to add other city property at the time, and also he also is talking about having a sound, a how do I want to say this, a nuisance for having excessive sound.
Yes.
Some of these generators they put on the back of these things are extremely loud.
They are.
And 85 decibels is by law the maximum you can go without having a headset, ear protection. And he mentioned he heard one that was definitely a lot louder than 85 decibels. So, these are things, and this is many other areas like St. Louis County has it. I think it can't be more than 50 decibels, which is pretty quiet for a generator. But usually that's all like a big cooler inside and things of that nature for food and ice cream and stuff. So this will be that may be brought up in another meeting to address that. But this was pretty well put through, 3-1 vote on that to pretty well just let the pool do what the pool does and let the concessions do what they do at the ballpark.
Yes.
Now, the only thing is that there was some question as to what the penalty would be for those who violate. And I think, hopefully people won't violate. That'd be nice.
Yes.
If they do, well, once you get your citation, you're going to find out. And it really, it's right now kind of variable at the time. We're not, the idea isn't to punish somebody, just go ahead and move on to someplace else.
Sure, absolutely.
However, I'm sure somewhere down the road, there may have to be something done.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
All right, and that was it. They adjourned the meeting after that. So
that was it.
And we took a lot longer than we did last night.
No closed session, no nothing.
No closed session. Everybody ran out, got out of there, ran back, started doing bills.
Yeah, they did.
Well, pretty much. All right, so very good. So again, we want to remind everybody if we had a nice long discussion about utility bills. If you're just joining us about the city, if you've got questions on those, before you call, not telling you can't call, but before you call, Brad has posted a letter on the city's Facebook page that does explain this situation, and also have the frequently asked questions section.
Yes.
That can answer a lot of those questions when you get your bill. Okay, so if you would do that first,
yes,
maybe it'll answer that question. That's why it's called frequently asked questions, because they've written them down at City Hall that they've gotten over and over and over again, and they have addressed those and put those out. So if you can just go there first, and then maybe that'll answer your question. If you're still confused, please do call City Hall.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. 729-4811 is the number, and they will help you and answer that question that you can best they can for you if you have, especially about your bill. Now, if you have some other question to ask, some of the people that aren't really doing that probably can't answer that question.
Yeah.
But very good. But for utilities, they will do the best they can to try and get those answered. More bills will be going out every single day. If you haven't gotten your bill yet, and I guess on the commercial side, and I know Ray had said this before, if you are on the payroll protection program and your program is coming to an end and you need that number for your payment, call.
Yes.
Get that number. If you're a business, you can get that number, and they will tell you what it is, and you'll get your bill to verify that later. But you can at least get that paid and done through your payroll protection program, as part of that can be used for utilities.
Yes, and from what I understand, there has been 10 businesses that have contacted us saying that they were part of that program, and I believe all 10 of those bills went out on Sunday to those businesses.
Well, we were on the program here, and I said, but I've still got. We still have 2 weeks, and so I'm not in any big hurry. Once I get it, we're good, and we'll move forward with it. But that's all part of the deal.
Yep.
All right. Well, Brad, thank you for coming in and spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.
I know you haven't got nothing else to do.
Yeah. You got to run and work on utility bills.
Yeah, I was going to say, he probably will be. No doubt about that. But again, Brad and the entire city and Board of Aldermen, they feel horrible about this.
Uh-huh.
And you can tell they wish they could do something more. They're doing all they can right now to try and get this done. And then, gosh, we hope that those software people can finally get that communication open between those two softwares.
That would be great.
Sooner the better.
Absolutely.
Are they down here now working on it, or are
No.
they still in St. Louis or wherever they are?
Yeah, still wherever they are.
That's what's making it tough.
Texas, I believe.
Well, Texas is a long way away. But I've seen pictures in Texas. They don't do a lot of social distancing down there.
No.
Tell you that much. Anyway, but nonetheless, but some businesses, they do still the social social visiting. Not too close.
Yeah.
Not too close. And that's hopefully, my gosh, I'm hoping by the middle of this month that they have all that resolved. I know our governor's kind of wanted to pull the trigger on June 1st and said, get back to phase 2, but he didn't. He extended it out for 15 more days. So let's hope it'll work out. Buddy, thanks for coming in. Appreciate
Thanks for
that.
having me.
That's Mayor Brad Nash, Mayor's Moments on KSMO Radio 13.